think that while it's extremely unfortunate that that's happened to us, I think that the beauty of us being able to rise above it is because we're like, oh, well, like, fuck that. Like, that's not just all who we are. Like, we have a confidence where we can be like, all right, well, what was funny about that? You know, like, that is a mindset that really, really should be appreciated by the two of us.
Wait, it's not that deep.
Wait, it's not that deep.
Doesn't that make you want to pop your puss so hard?
So fucking hard.
Are you a raver?
Like, no. It's not something I would normally do, but like, I've been and I'm like, this is so much fun, but I don't know how much of this I can actually do. Yeah. You know?
You ever look around at a rave and you're like, I know I'm having fun and I know I'm supposed to be having fun, but like, how do I keep doing this for so much longer? Like,
yeah.
Some people, like, that's their thing.
Yeah. And like, hearing wise, drug wise, time of the night wise, like, it's something that is so far out of my reach. And I remember I went to see Shermanology at Musica.
Ooh.
And they...
What's Musica besides music in Spanish?
Yeah. Speaking of Spanish, I must say, as you speak horrible Spanish, as we just found out from telling the cleaning ladies that we're recording a podcast in here, you legitimately have no ability
do you
whatsoever.
Speak multiple languages? Like, do you have the repertoire to talk about my languages?
I do not speak multiple languages. However, and I did not see this. I just heard it. It's
like a podcast with no video.
Yeah. But just the utter confusion when you could tell that there was a language barrier was like, I could just hear crackling from outside the room. And no, I don't speak any other languages.
Did you take other languages growing up? We're not done with the rave talk, but I'm just curious.
Yeah. This is all connected. I took Spanish for like 8 years. So, yo hablo.
What was your Spanish name? Maximo?
Maximilian.
Really?
Yeah. Ibiza. Dena.
You're in middle school, like, we're going to Ibiza. And they're like,
Ibiza, Barcelona.
they're like, you're literally 12 years old.
Yeah, I'm in upstate New York. Like, my Spanish teacher's name is like Eric. Yeah. And I'm like, going to Barca.
Eric studied Spanish for a little bit, and then he like went on a rave himself, like a rave tour, and he was like, I think I'm just gonna teach Spanish.
I think like I'm gonna ditch my economics degree and like teach a language I barely know.
He's now like the distant family member that at all family gatherings they're like, Eric, man, did you get it together yet?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I'm teaching Spanish to 7th graders.
Yo soy getting there.
Yeah.
They're like, he's amazing. He's amazing.
Like worldly, well traveled.
So
I rave.
Sherman Oaks.
All right, so Sherman Oaks. It's just like, so Sherman Oaks is in California. I'm from upstate New York. I've never been to Sherman Oaks either. And
it's money.
Yeah, and I know that's not very yes and of this college improv girl, but Sherman Oaks is like, you hear that and you just get a little confused because it's a little niche.
Yeah, sorry. It's because the podcaster that I listen to and not watch, she's always talking about Sherman Oaks, so I feel like I know her.
Yeah.
It's like a celebrity, you know? You feel like you know them.
Yeah. I have friends from Beverly Hills, and and my cousin lives in Beverly Hills, which is great. I love it there. It's so fun.
Do you rave with your cousin in Beverly Hills?
No, but my cousin used to be a raver. She used to go to Ultra, and she used to do the whole rave thing. I just like, and like, I like the music too. I'm just like, I'm not going to risk my life going to Brooklyn Mirage to see Tiesto at 6:30 in the morning. Wait. They're like, yo, show starts at 10. I heard Tiesto's not coming on until 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's like showtime 6 p.m. He's not coming on until the next year.
Yeah.
And like, but people respect it so much that they stay. I have a crazy story about Tiesto specifically.
Okay.
And then we'll get back to you, I promise, because I'm a really good host.
This is like two Jewish moms just like trying to get a word in.
My son's going to be a doctor.
Yeah, my son's going to be a lawyer.
Good for you. But an actual lawyer or like a trademark lawyer?
Personal injury.
Oh.
Yeah,
Billboards.
just like his father. Just like his
Just
father.
like his father. Family business.
Yeah.
You know what would be tough if you had a family who had a family business and then you didn't want to go into that family business?
Yeah, I can understand how that would be hard, but luckily, like, my dad's a doctor, so like, it's not going to happen.
A doctor or a dentist doctor?
A doctor, not a podiatrist, not a chiropractor. You know,
Podiatrists are doctors too.
they don't have an MD.
Okay.
This is like the brainwashing of my dad, like berating this into me. He's like, dentists are not, chiropractors are not, because they're not MDs. So and I'm just like, yeah.
What kind of like? What does he practice?
Orthopedic surgery.
Oh damn, he's like a doctor.
A real doctor. Yeah.
I can't. I don't even want to step foot into that. I think I'm gonna get into trouble.
Yeah.
But what I did want to talk about was
Yeah, I was just gonna give a list of his patients and like their home addresses, but
HIPAA who?
literally exactly HIPAA who? More like hippo. Am I right?
Yeah, hippo.
This is a comedy podcast.
Okay, wait.
Okay, wait. You do have a crazy story about Tiesto.
We're fine because I want to go back to HIPAA after this.
Okay, thank God.
But what I wanted to say was last October, I was supposed to go to Tiesto with my friend at Brooklyn Mirage.
Okay.
And then it was like 2 days after the Hamas attacks in
Oh
Israel.
my God.
And it was like, we can't go to the Mirage.
Yeah.
Because what if something happened? And then it's like, well, who the fuck thought it would be a good idea to go to the Mirage? And then it's just like me and my friend like raving to Tiesto at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So that was the last time I was supposed to go to the Mirage. Hamas took that from me. Like, people are like, I'm affected by Hamas. Like, I was affected.
I was supposed to see Tiesto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, I couldn't name you a Tiesto song, but we just were going to do drugs and, like,
Yeah.
smile.
That's literally why you go to Brooklyn Mirage. And I also don't do drugs. Like, that's not, like, something I've ever done. And I'm not, like, one of those people who's vehemently opposed to it. I just know it's not for me. So, like, when I'm at a club and it's 3 a.m. and some guy bumps into me, he's like, please tell me you have ketamine. I'm like, I feel bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like comforting him. I'm like, I think that guy in the feather boa and the buzz cut, he might have a pill for you, but I just have a good crisp handshake.
So, you don't do drugs?
I don't do drugs, no.
Have you never tried them, or do you not give into peer pressure? What is it?
I don't give into peer pressure. I have before. There's sometimes I still do. Like, you know, like if I want to like not maybe like get dessert at a restaurant and someone's like, you want that fucking cake? I'm like, all right, I guess I do. Yeah, you're so right. But if someone like shoves a line of blow in my face, they're like, you're doing that. I'm like, no, I'm not.
You're like,
You
I'll
know?
have the cake.
I'll have the cake. If you have like a tiramisu, I could try instead of this narcotic. Like that'd be ideal. But
That's so interesting. And I feel like that's so opposite of what so many people feel, because
oh yeah,
I was just with my college friends and we were talking about like drugs we did in bumfuck Virginia.
nice.
And but it was so random and none of us knew where it was coming from, who sourced this.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. Like I was the kind of guy who was like, I don't care if you do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't care if you do it. Just be safe when you do it. And I remember I was at a party once in college and this guy, I was talking to him and he did a lot of cocaine and people knew that about him. And he was like, yeah, like I heard like there's going to be like a huge shipment of cocaine coming in from Rutgers and it's all laced with fentanyl. And we took a beat and he was like, that fucking sucks. And I was just like, how are you so okay with that? You know?
Yeah, that's wild. I'm curious where he is today.
So am I. I believe somewhere in New Jersey.
You're like, jail.
Yeah. I'm like, here's his address.
Yeah. Believe he's in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
Flees to Sherman Oaks.
He's somewhere in the
refuge.
valley. That's what I'm hearing.
But that's crazy. Like, it's such a big part of our culture. But I also feel like to not do it is like, why is that even considered taking a stance? Right? You're just doing what you want.
Yeah, and for me, like, I have a lot and this. How far we've deviated from comedy already is fantastic. I just want to say, but
we're funny people, but like
we're funny people, but we can talk.
We can yap.
We can. It should just be called yap.
2 Jews, 1 cup.
Yeah. Also,
two Jews, 1 kippah.
We.
Wait, do another one.
It's 2 Jews, 1 kiddish cup. Let's get more specific.
Nice.
To take your joke and like add another joke onto it.
You could put one thing in your kiddish cup. What's it gonna be? 3, 2, 1.
Dr. Pepper. Oh my goodness.
You're supposed to say Dr. Brown's if you're gonna say Zacta.
No, well, Manischewitz. Do you like the cherry or the grape more?
Grape.
Yeah, thank God, yeah.
I've never had the cherry.
It's not that good. I knew a kid in my fraternity who that was like the thing he would get when he went to the liquor store was great was cherry Manischewitz. I don't even think he was Jewish. He's just like, I like the taste.
He's like, I'm having a good time and I'm appropriating culture.
Yeah.
Cherry Manischewitz. Yeah, we were raised on Dr. Brown's cream soda.
Yeah.
And chopped liver and
great
Manischewitz, but you're lying if you said you've never convinced yourself you felt a little tipsy sipping from that thing when you were younger.
Listen, Pesach, I would constantly say, like, I need more wine because, like, I'm taking big dips for the plagues. Like, okay. I'm like, I literally just need a refill, and it was just to get more wine. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you weren't supposed to drink after every prayer.
you're like chugging. All of a sudden, you're icing yourself.
Yeah, Beret Pre-Hagafen, I'm on one knee.
Pre, I'm getting fucked up.
Yeah. Amen.
Wait, so for the non-Jews listening,
yes,
on Passover, I want to say it's given ode to the plagues that once demolished our people.
Yes. Well, not us. The Egyptians.
Yeah.
So you go to Passover every year, right?
Yeah.
How are you still unclear about this story?
I really did not invite you on here to gaslight me. I also like.
You're the one who's bringing up Judaism, and now you're like, yeah. So like, it was so crazy how like Moses like did the 10 plagues like on his own people. Like that shit was fucked up. I can't believe he'd do that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look up the exact origin. Well, what is it? Do a quick Spark Notes for the people that don't know. Just because I'm gonna have a quick sip of water, and it's not because I don't know.
Yeah, you're asking me to tell the story of Passover,
like
in a Spark Notes version.
Yeah, explain it to a 5-year-old.
Okay, so if I was to explain it to a 5-year-old, I would put on The Prince of Egypt because it's like the greatest movie ever.
Yeah, that guy's hot.
Who, Moses or Ramses?
Moses.
Okay, good.
Moses, you dumb fuck.
You dumbass. Ramses was bald. I don't know if you're into that.
I am.
You like a smooth head.
I like a smooth head. And
am I making you angry?
You're not making me angry. I think that because I want to ask you about your hair, but and we still never talked about HIPAA.
We still never talked about HIPAA, raving, or the story of Passover, but we're all this is going to be like long form improv. We're all just going to like tie it in at the end and say goodnight. Yeah.
Tips greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was just like the hilariousness of Passover when you're dipping your fingers into the wine and you're basically like blood
boils.
But you say like boils.
Yeah.
Or you say like I dam
Sfardea. It's so fun.
And you're literally just like listing off things. Like I feel like if we did that in college, it could be more of like a chlamydia.
Yeah. Just going through the venereal diseases you had.
Gonorrhea.
Yeah. Gonorrhea.
But you're dipping your hands in like Bacardi.
Yeah.
Instead of Manischewitz.
Yeah. Or like barefoot out of like a 3-liter bottle.
Yeah. While slapping the bag.
Oh yeah.
That would be a funny stand-up bit. Don't steal that.
What? Like
you're like, what about that was just funny to you?
Oh, you're saying the college comparison of the plagues? Oh, that is really funny.
Do you want to steal it or make it your
No,
own?
no, because it was you. It was you.
It was me.
It was you.
That's
it was
so true.
It was entirely you. Also, am I allowed to talk about a bit that you did recently, or do you want to like keep it secret?
You can talk about it. I talk about my deaf ex-boyfriend on stage, and there's videos of it, and I'm terrified that his family has probably seen it. But I know that they have.
Okay.
And my point is, it's all out there.
Okay. Well, you did a bit about how you said that you have like this like tick on stage where if you touch your face, you want people to boo you. And then you said something about like, so I'm Jewish. And then people started booing you. And it was like, they realized that they had been caught. And like, it was like, everyone was like, oh shit. But then we all started to laugh. And I was like, God, that's good.
I really appreciate that. It all started because I was self-conscious of how much I touched my hair.
You're telling me.
Can you relate to that?
Yeah. The amount of times I've like watched stuff where I'm like brushing my bangs off of my face when I'm like in the middle of the punchline and I'm like, could I not have just waited? You know?
When you're on stage, are you aware that you're doing it, or is it just when you watch it back?
It's just when I watch it back. And there have been times where I've caught myself doing it and I'm like, all right, I need to stop. And then I feel like I have. But then I'll go back and I'll watch and I'll be like, oh, I fully was like fucking my own mouth with my finger the entire show. And I'm like, well, I guess that's scrapped. Look, it looks like I'm like licking like blue cheese off my hand the whole show.
Love blue cheese.
Love blue cheese. Yo, shout out blue cheese.
Shout out blue cheese.
That's actually one of the sponsors.
I just
for the
ate it
show.
today.
Really?
My coworkers were like, did you really need to eat that with pickled onions? And I said yes.
Nothing like
did.
cracking open pickled onions and blue cheese in the office. You're really a hit around
I'm
here.
like, it came with the salad. Meanwhile, I customized that shit.
Yeah.
I think that when I watch videos back of me touching my hair so much, I realize how, if it's distracting for you when you're watching that, it's so distracting when you're an audience member.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because also, like, I'll watch people, and if the second I clock that they have something,
It's the only thing you notice, right? There's some comedians that do like hand stuff, and I'm just like, yo, like you got to chill with that.
and I clock it as, to me, it resembles, whether this is actually what it translates to, it resembles a lack of confidence and security.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you can't just present yourself and not fiddle.
Yeah.
And I think that when I'll even like, I realize like I talk with my hands so much. Like I was in a sales meeting today and I literally put my hands underneath like my legs.
Yeah.
And it was begging to come out.
But
like our minds just must be thinking like, do it.
It's like another physical exertion of our energy. And I think to a certain extent it's fine, but like if it's like nervous ticking, that's what people are going to notice. But if you're like going like this and you're kind of like walking through your bit using your hands and doing all this and that, I feel like it feels like organic motion. But if you're like fidgeting and shit, people are going to be like, does this guy have like cerebral palsy? Like what's going on?
No, right. And also like you're taking away from your content that you worked hard on.
Exactly, yeah.
Because at least it's not part of the bit. So when I started doing that bit, I was trying to think of what is a way that I can stop touching my fucking head.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, if people boo me, then I'm probably going to stop it. So I started doing it. And I was like, can you just boo me when I touch my hair?
Yeah.
And then I would touch my hair and then they would boo me. And it was funny. And I was like, okay, but what if I timed it with something?
Yeah.
And then that led into another Jew joke. So then I started doing it. I'm not kidding. Every time it kills.
It destroyed. It was like, I was in the back and I was like, that's fucking good.
Yeah, like I would like to trademark that.
It's fucking good.
But also like take it and make it your own and just make it like I have chlamydia and then they're booing it. It's like, are you kidding me?
Are
you not fucking?
You're slut shaming? Yeah. You ain't getting in the sack, my G?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like my dad up front. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's like, my man.
I do think that there's good ways to kind of curate your content on stage to like also make everyone in the crowd feel like they're in on something. Because then you could keep doing callbacks to it and be like, does the anti-Semite have anything to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Oh, 100%.
How long have you been doing stand-up? Also, for context, everyone that's listening, Max and I met each other 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, to the D.
Yeah.
To the D, to the D. It's not that deep. We met each other 3 weeks ago, and I was immediately taken by his hair. We were both asked to be on Mike Points' comedy show.
Shouts out Mike Points. Yeah.
You know him from
College.
Muhlenberg.
Yes.
So funny.
What, that I went to Muhlenberg and wasted money on it?
Yeah, it's a little comical. Muhlenberg, I have friends that went there for sports.
Really?
Yes.
Name drop?
Kevin Irving.
I love Kevin Irving.
Are you being funny?
No, like I've met him and I had like a great time with him. He was in my fraternity.
Are you serious?
He was in ATO, yeah.
I'm officiating his wedding.
Are you serious?
Yes.
K. Irv!
Wait, I want to FaceTime him.
That's the boy right there. I've only met him once. Like, he was in like the Big Little family of like one of my really good friends in my fraternity.
That's too random.
I believe his little brother is Lance Lisak.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I hope it's okay that we're name dropping.
You know what?
I know it is with Kevin, but you're the one that just said LL.
He'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Will he? I hope
Yeah.
he's good. He's not the one who was looking for fentanyl from Rutgers, right?
No.
No. You're like, that was me. That was
Yeah.
Max Wiener. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, started doing stand-up.
Yeah. The first time I got on a professional stage, I was 19.
That's young.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Can you describe to me what made you do it? What'd you talk about?
So when I was like 14, I watched, I guess because it's 10 years ago now, I watched the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary special. And I literally, like, I had no idea what I wanted to be. I was such, like, I was not this. I was such a follower. I had no sense of identity. I was so confused. And then I watched that whole 3-hour episode with my parents, and I was like, I'm going to be a comedian. And my parents were like, no, you're not. Because I was shy. I was like quiet, and they were like, what? But then I like started to like really like dig deep and like get on stage. And the first time I ever did stand up was 16 at school.
In high school?
In high school. It was so bad.
But so, did you see someone specifically on that special that you recognize that? Like, did you get a feeling? I'm just trying to get like...
Yeah, no, I think it was just like the vibe of like the show and just like looking at all these great comedians be funny. I was like, I feel like that's something that if I really work to pursue it, I would 100% be able to do that. And it literally, like, it's crazy to think about because it was the textbook definition of an epiphany. They rolled the credits and I was like, I'm going to become a comedian. It sounds so cringe, but like it literally, like, it was that instantaneous for me. And like, I feel like a part of me changed like the next day. Like I was a new person because I was like, oh, like I know what I'm doing. So like, I'm fine. Like I have this sense of like assurance that I know the path that I'm going on because I know where I want to be. And so I guess like all of this is just kind of like a byproduct of being like, I think I'm going to get on stage and try and make people laugh.
Were you someone that people look to as like funny?
I think, yeah. I think that I was always a funny person. But, and I'm sure that you feel the same way. Like, you can meet really, really funny people, but that doesn't always gonna make it translate on stage. Like, it's a totally different animal.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't even, like, know that I had any ability on stage. And I started to do it, and I started to get up, and I was like, I feel a weird sense of comfort. Because I was really shy when I was a kid. Like, I still am the kind of person where, like, if I'm in a store and I'm looking for one product and I can't find it, I will not ask someone who works there where it is because I don't want to go up to them. But I will get on stage in front of people and like tell jokes. And I'm like, oh, like that's so much easier than like being at Ulta. And I'm like, do you have this exfoliator?
It's so
weird.
So it's not weird. It's really interesting because so many people feel the opposite.
Yeah.
Where they can go up to anyone and talk to anyone, the people that can talk to a wall, but they can't fathom going in front of people and bearing themselves.
Right. Because what we do is so much more raw and gritty than singing or honestly like acting in general. Because like we're literally trying to get validation for our thoughts. It's insane when you think about it. We're like, I thought this thing and I think it's funny. You need to tell me if it's funny.
And then if they don't think it's funny, it's like, do I scrap this or rework this thought?
Yeah.
To like a fabricated thought and then present that again?
Yeah. Like, is there something still here or was this genuinely like stupid of me?
Right. And that's so interesting.
Yeah.
What is it about approaching someone in Target, Ulta, etc.? Like, do you not want to bother them? Does your voice get shaky? Like, what makes you nervous in that situation?
It's so weird. It's like a sense of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I genuinely like, there's such a hesitation of me being like, hey, like, do you have this? And I'm like, I don't even know where it stems from. It's like parts of old me, like, still creeping through. It's like weeds.
Because people probably see you
Yeah.
with your look and are like, that guy has all the confidence. Like, you need to have confidence to like be yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm assuming that you are being your full transparent self.
Yeah.
Simply by like the unique way that you present yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like to me, like you are, and the reason I was so drawn to you was I was like, this guy does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, the key to success to anything, because if you don't give a fuck, then you don't care what people think and you don't care when people say no. Yeah. Unless they're an Ulta employee and they're out of your favorite Diva Curl shampoo.
Literally, that's like my worst nightmare. Yeah. And because then it's like, oh, like I'm embarrassed.
Yeah. Do you blush when you're embarrassed?
I think I do, because I get hot in the face.
Yeah.
So I feel like I do.
I wish that blushing is I think the meanest thing that God created,
because it's such a easy tell.
Like, we're gonna make you can feel however you feel, but I'm gonna show it on your face.
Exactly.
Like, that's awful.
Yeah.
Why can't I just hide it?
Why can't I just like hide this shame? But now I'm like beet red, I'm sweating, I'm breathing heavily. It's like, holy shit, like, am I making it that obvious?
No. No, like, blushing is so embarrassing.
It's terrible.
And then you start to think about how you're blushing, and then it's like, why do they think I'm blushing? I'm blushing because now I'm like getting hot.
Yeah.
I just think I've never really thought about that concept of how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
That we're allowed to blush.
It's like when you're first going through puberty as a guy and like everyone turns you on. Yeah. And so like you look at someone and you just get a boner. Yeah. And you're like, I'm in a tough spot now. Yeah. It's more telling than blushing. Yeah. Truthfully.
But what if you have a boner and you're blushing and your nipples are hard because you're cold?
Then you should just kill yourself.
Yeah. Then you have a fat order of fentanyl coming your way from Rutgers. Like, that is bad. Like, it's not fun. And like, I do want to get back when you were 16. Yeah. When you first, I have a good memory.
Yeah. How old were you when you first started?
I first did it when I was 21.
Okay.
I was in college.
So we're like on same or on similar like time frames, I guess.
Kinda, but I would say similar, about the same time, completely different.
Yeah.
Because in high school, I don't think I could have done it. I was really outgoing and I was really funny, but I don't even think I had the outlet to like do stand up. It wasn't something I was looking for. Like, yeah. When 14, you saw the anniversary episode. 16, were you like, I'm gonna go on stage?
That was like, my high school does a telethon every year, and it's like a huge deal. It's like the biggest fundraising event they do, and if you're a student, you can essentially like sign up to perform. So like people play guitar, like all the a cappella groups sang, bands played. It was a huge thing, and like they would clear out the dining hall and people would come in with like blankets and like they would like camp out there. It was like a 4-hour event. It was crazy. And it was live streamed everywhere.
What were you raising money for?
So my school would pick a charity every year to raise money for.
Oh.
And so they would raise money to like send like a food truck around India. I think that was one we did one year. And like it really was like for a good cause. And I think it was kind of funny that I'm like telling Jew jokes at this thing that's like for dying children. I'm like, so my dad's Jewish. And let me know.
Yeah.
But
they're like, and that's funny. And you're like, that's not the punchline.
Yeah. Everyone starts laughing because we're in New England.
Right.
I'm like, guys.
Wait, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Goshen, New York, which is in Orange County. So that's like an hour and a half away from here. I went to high school. I went to Goshen High School for 2 years. And then I went to boarding school for 2 years.
In New England.
In Suffield, Connecticut at Suffield Academy.
Okay.
And so.
Were you sent on bad behavior? Like.
No, I chose to go.
Huh.
I fully chose to go. Yeah. I was not a fan of going to public school in my hometown.
Because you were better then?
No, it's because like a lot of it honestly had to do with anti-Semitism. Like kids used to throw pennies at me, like not even an exaggeration. And like teachers, one time a teacher caught me on my phone in class and I was like, oh, sorry. Like my mom texted me and she's like, oh, I'm surprised you weren't calling your accountant. 10th grade English class, that happened. Yeah.
Were you the only Jewish person?
I was one of like 6 in the entire school.
In upstate New York? That's shocking.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And there wasn't a lot of like unity among the Jewish kids. I feel like it was like you're kind of just like on your own.
That's so crazy. And I'm sorry
wild.
that happened.
Honestly, like it's a silver lining because I got the fuck out of there, went to boarding school, had the best time of my life, had so much fun. Then went to college, met Jewish kids. They're my best friends, had the best time of my life. So that honestly kind of set me up for success because I was like, Jesus, like I'm really going through it right now. My parents always gave me the option because my older brother went to boarding school. They were like, if you ever want to exercise this, you have that option. And I literally came to that conclusion one day sitting in class. I looked around. I was like, I literally like none of you.
Did your brother decide that for the same reason or different reason?
Different reason. My parents took him out.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. My heart breaks because I feel like I had similar experiences to you. I like had pennies thrown at me and like I made a joke out of it, obviously. But
oh, yeah.
And I remember someone making fun of my Jewish star and I felt shame.
Yeah.
But all of my friends were Jewish.
Because you're from Westfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts
out.
A lot of Jewish people. And I didn't ever feel it was different to be Jewish.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine like feeling the shame, but internalizing the shame.
Yeah. That definitely, I mean, that's also like part of it on me is like I tend to internalize a lot of things. But that in itself was like me being like, fuck all of you, you know? Because I knew that there was no help. Like if the teachers and the students were doing it, I was like, I'm basically screwed. And it's the kind of town where it's like, unless you're on the football team, eat shit, you know?
Oh, my God.
And like, you know, I was like, my freshman year of high school, like I was on the JV tennis team because I was sick. I'm a sick tennis player. Like,
we should play tennis.
We should. Where do you play in the city? Where's your court?
I played in Central Park, but the clay courts were bad on my knees.
Ooh, speaking of Jewish.
Let's go to Pier 42 because they just
sick.
opened.
Yeah.
Okay. I digress. Keep going.
Come on.
Yeah.
Nice. Way to be. Sorry, just like inside segment jokes, you know.
Yeah,
just
sorry.
Like,
I'm like looking at our audience. I'm like, sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. What was I saying?
You were saying boarding school.
So I guess, to go like way back, like the first time going back to like the telethon that they did, that was the first time I ever did stand up. And even worse, like it was in front of all these people I knew. So I was like, if I bomb, they're never going to forget that shit.
Wait, the telethon was at your boarding school or your crappy public school?
At my boarding school. I was
Oh, thank God.
My
I was
public
like,
school-
I was like, please don't do Jew jokes in front of these
Yeah.
anti-Semites. Hitler shows up. You're like, what?
Hitler is just like every Joe Schmo that goes to fucking just in public school with me. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So how did it go? How long was the set? How did you prep?
I did 5 minutes.
Type 5.
Literally the loosest 5. This is like a wide, loose 5. You know? Like I had never done it before. I was like, oh, like I watch so much. I guess I can just like write what I think is like good material. And it did fine. Like people were laughing. Was it out of pity? I'm sure some of it. But I did it and I was like, all right, I did it. And now I'm like, good. But the first time I did stand up at a real club, I was 19.
And where was that?
Levity Live, West Nyack, New York.
Wow.
In the Palisades Mall.
In the mall.
Yeah.
So what was that? Did you see like why when I talk do I need to like
It's like Talladega Nights where
Do
it's
like-
Ricky Bobby. It's like, I just don't know what to do with my hands.
I literally don't know, or like the frat flick at
The
like
frat flick.
I just went to Kygo, humble brag.
Yeah.
And everyone was-
you and all of Murray Hill were at Kygo.
Okay, so I thought it was cool to go to Kygo, and then I showed up to Kygo and I said, why is everyone 21?
Why is everyone 21? Why is like the entire student population of the University of Michigan here just packed onto the floor? Literally every single person I know who lives in Murray Hill and Kips Bay was at that Kygo concert.
I thought I was different. It's not, because Kygo is not John Summit.
We're just fucking haters.
We're
I
on
love
one.
it.
We're on one. Like, and I realized that I like mushrooms lately.
Nice.
My friends and I have this running bit. I stopped drinking, like, I'm pretty sure for good. And I'm like, I don't drink anymore, but I just like am turning to every drug that I had never tried before. I'm like,
It's like, but I don't drink.
yeah, like I've just been like cutting out alcohol, and I'm like, is that the new weed pen? Give it to me.
Is that the Fortnite cart?
Yeah. I'm like, they're like, oh, Dana, do you want a shot? I'm like, oh my God. I'm not
No.
trying to poison my body.
Yeah.
Can we snort cocaine off that homeless guy's dick? Like, but we just obviously kept going with it. But at Kygo, like, we were shrooming out, and I was like, I feel like this was a waste of my shrooms,
Yeah.
because I could have just listened to Remind Me to Forget in the basement of Ray's,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know how we got onto Kygo.
We were
I
talking
know it was
about
my
Jewish
fault.
kids.
Oh, Jewish kids, Murray Hill. Okay. But so I want to hear, you're 19 years old. You're at the mall. How did you come up with content for that? And how did you get booked?
It was an open mic.
Did you bring anyone?
No, I wouldn't let anyone come with me. I was like, this is I'm gonna brave this alone. I could not tell you a single joke that I did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think. Actually, I think I did. I do this joke where it's like, I found out that my dad did coke in the 80s, and I couldn't imagine it because he's so straight-laced. And like the thought of him coming out of a bathroom, like, you motherfuckers want to go swimming right now? Like, I did that, and I think that was the only joke I did that got a laugh.
That's fun. That's funny.
And I was like, nice, like I did it. And I was like driving home, I was like freaking out, I was like shaking, I was like, I fucking like.
You're like, SNL's gonna call me.
I was like, there might have been 3 people there, but guys, I killed.
You're like, I feel like there was an SNL scout in there.
Yeah.
And
my
West Nyack.
dad, God bless him, I told him I did an open mic once. He's like, did you see any agents in the crowd? I was like, at the Black Cat on the Lower East Side at 9 p.m. I don't think so.
100%.
I didn't see any good looking people. No.
You saw some pedophiles, but
Yeah.
that doesn't count.
I saw the barista give me a dirty look when I told a lesbian joke, but
Recruiting for what? Like,
yeah.
you're like, they were recruiting, but what?
I think they were trafficking.
Yeah,
I
no.
think that's what they were doing.
Human trafficking is very serious. But yeah, we stand.
We stand. Diddy.
What did your hair look like? You want to hear something insane?
Yeah, we'll talk about my hair later. We mentioned Diddy.
My coworker was the last person to see P. Diddy before he got arrested.
What?
This was Sunday night. He went out to dinner at a pizza place in Brooklyn. He takes a photo of Diddy. He's literally dining next to him. I said, do you want to send that to TMZ, or do you want me to make my inheritance off of this photo? He goes, I don't want to send it in, Dana. I feel like that's bad. I go, what's bad is Diddy.
Yeah.
He literally has the last photo, public photo of P Diddy. I swear to God.
That's insane.
I know, and he's not even acting like it's insane.
That's gonna be like a killer post on Reddit in like 5 years.
But my thing is like, okay, like sure, why do I actually want to post it? And it's for money.
Yeah.
But then I feel like it's gonna get complicated. He's gonna be like, I actually took the photo, and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But what it's worth it for right now is like your reaction when I just said that.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's insane.
I mean, that's like, I feel like I see those all the time where it's like last photos of celebrities before they die, got arrested. It's like, have you ever seen the one of Robin Williams?
No.
The last photo of Robin Williams is like him taking a picture with a fan, and you could just see his eyes. Like there's nothing there. Like the sadness. And it's like, oh, I could see it. Or like Freddie Mercury, like the last picture of him where he's thin and he's frail, and it's so sad. But P. Diddy, you're like, fuck that guy.
No, literally, fuck that guy. You know, Kesha changed the first line to the song.
Really?
So you know how it's like, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
Yeah, what'd she change it to?
Now she changed it to, well, I want to know what you would change it to.
Well,
welcome to our segment. Do you think like Kesha?
yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's wake up in the morning like fuck P. Diddy.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that good?
Nice. Good for her.
I doubt she came up with it.
Well, I mean, listen, can we just stand Kesha for like 5 seconds?
Yeah, but when's the last time you saw her live?
I never have. Have you?
I saw her live.
Was that a segue?
Insert transition.
Did I just get baited?
Masturbated.
Yeah.
I saw Kesha in DC like a few months ago, and she was not dancing, was not bringing the heat, almost made TikTok a little acoustic, and I hated it. And so I actually brainwashed myself to forget about that.
Wow.
And
So I'm like bringing up like wartime trauma for you.
Kinda. I don't really love it.
You're like a veteran watching Saving Private Ryan for the first time right now. You're like, it's
Yeah.
like I'm there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And P. Diddy wasn't in like that big of trouble then, so I still got
Yeah.
like the OG lyric, which fuck P. Diddy.
Yeah.
But why'd we bring up P. Diddy?
I think it's because
You did.
no, I'll tell you the exact origin.
Okay.
We were talking about late night open mic, no talent agents there, just human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
I heard human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
We still stand.
Yep.
And then I said Diddy.
So true. And
you were just about to ask about my hair.
then I ran it. Well, so I wanted to kind of set the scene when you
Yes.
were 19.
Yes.
Or sorry, rather, yeah, 19 at your first open mic for real.
Yeah.
What did your hair look like?
Short. I had short hair. I started growing my hair out February of 2020. So like right before the shit.
You
Right-
couldn't have just done it like May of 2020.
No, like I remember the date that I figured it out.
What? Tell me. Take me through that.
February 8th, 2020 was the day I decided I was growing out my hair.
Why?
I wanted to look like Joe Keery in Stranger Things. That was the reason I wanted to grow out my hair. I wanted a mullet. And so I let it grow for like a year. Got it like that. I was like, I kind of like don't want to keep it like this. And I just kept letting it grow. So this is like almost 5 years of growth right here. And I get it cut. I get it trimmed. I keep it clean. Yeah, like every guy with like a low taper fade when he sees me is like, so like, do you like get your hair cut or like do you just like let it grow? Like I'm like, and I'm like,
That's a direct quote.
it's a direct quote. Yeah, Bleecker Street Bar. It's happened to me many times.
Obsessed.
Yeah, it's just a lot of guys like, dude, like your flow, it's insane.
You're like, it's a wig.
Yeah, but that's the thing. A lot of people ask me that. That's like the biggest question I get is like, is your hair real? And if I say no, they're like, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
They're like, considering myself validated.
Yeah, they're like, okay, good. Because I saw you from across the bar, and I was like, why is that guy wearing a fucking wig? And I'm like, I know, like.
You're like, bro, Halloween's in a month.
Yeah.
What? Like, did you know that you had curly hair?
Yes. I knew I had good hair, and I always kept it really short, and I was like, I gotta let this bitch fly, you know?
Well, also, if you're growing up in a town that hates Jews.
Yeah, imagine you just have just like a head full of payas. Like,
it's not going to go well.
yeah.
And they're gonna be throwing pennies, not quarters.
They're
My
gonna
thing
be
is, like,
throwing stones at my home.
I actually have a bit that I don't really do anymore, but I said, like, this kid used to throw pennies at me. And I'm so Jewish that the first thing I thought when he threw it was, what can I buy myself with this? But I was like,
why don't you do that anymore?
I should.
It's fucking
You
hilarious.
just validated me.
That's fucking hilarious.
It is funny because I fully was like, Mama's going to the candy shop. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I should do that.
Do you primarily, like, when you are writing material, are you like, I want to write more Jew jokes, or like, do you lean into that? Do you think as much as you could? Because I feel like I like barely graze it.
I try to be more like
Worldly.
it's kind of like I try not to lean on cursing, sex, and Judaism.
It's the big three.
The big three.
Yeah.
But I'll still write it down and just see what happens with it. Like, my notes app has a lot of stuff, but you know what? At the end of the day, like, comics are funny because they make fun of themselves.
Exactly.
And I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make fun of myself.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, things that compile me, like sex, drugs, rock and roll, sure. But, like, Judaism, divorced parents, dating. Like, I feel like that's a good roundup of what you can expect. Like, what's yours?
Also,
no worries if you don't have them.
I look like this.
Mm-hmm.
People think I'm a woman from behind. Honestly, now I feel like I'm doing way more dating material than I ever have. I mean, you're on Hinge for like one day and you're like, I have 10 minutes now. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, I'm dating for content.
Yeah, right?
And
like,
it's serving.
Whenever I hook up with someone, and this is so narcissistic, my first thought is like, did I get material out of this?
You're either finding a partner or you're finding a joke.
Exactly. And Gary Shandling, who is one of my favorite comedians, has the best joke about this, where he's like, yeah, like, I was dating this woman, but she wasn't like giving me any material, so I broke up with her. He's like, I need 20 minutes. Like, you're not doing it for me.
Next.
Yeah, like,
keep swiping.
Yeah. Like, if I'm like telling a story about hooking up with someone, like, it happened and I'm like, thank God, because now I have like this funny thing that happened.
So, question on that, and also I'm being mindful of time because I usually like to stay under an hour, and we're at 47 minutes.
Let's go fucking 3 hours. I don't give a shit.
We could. But we won't.
Yeah.
So, when you're telling stories about like dating, hooking up, are you fabricating it?
No.
You're literally telling it like it is, not making it funnier if you could, not toning it down if you should.
Every joke I've done about dating and hooking up, it's all real. Like, it all happened. I feel like someone's fact checking me the whole time. Like, I get nervous, like almost as if like the other person it happened with is in the room and they're going to be like, that's not what happened.
Well, it's almost like you're like someone who did something bad in the past, then you're running for senator. Exactly. And then someone comes out and is like, that's not how that happened.
And then the prostitute comes out and is like, hey, remember me?
Mm-hmm.
Toledo.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, there goes the campaign.
You're like, is that my most compatible from Hinge? How'd you get in here? I didn't know you were real. Thought you were catfishing me.
Yeah.
I think, right. This is another thing too.
Yeah.
When I like talking to people about their styles of stand-up comedy, because sometimes I'm like, do you go into it knowing what you're going to say for the 10 minutes? Do you feed off the crowd? Do you make it look more authentic than it is?
Yeah.
When it comes to jokes and stories, like, I can tell when something is so rehearsed and I don't find you funny.
Right. I am just now getting into the idea of like not being to a T prepared for a show. And I think that's because it's allowed it to have like more natural mutation of the joke, where like I think of it like a roadmap where like I know how to get there. Like, I know the turns and it's like set up, punchline. I know how to get there. But if I'm following these words, like, nothing's going to happen, because if I deviate from that, I'm going to be like, oh shit, I fucked up. I once did a show and someone came up to me afterwards. They were like, that was so good, like really well rehearsed. And I know they didn't mean it like in a bad way, but I was like, fuck. Because like my stuff was doing well, but someone was like, yeah, like well rehearsed, good stuff. And I was like, motherfucker.
They might as well tell you your hair looks like shit.
Exactly. They
That's
might have said your hair is not looking, your hair is not big
I love
today.
your wig.
Yeah, I love your wig.
That would actually hurt my feelings so much.
I still think about it. And that's why I'm now like, all right, like I'll write down the names of the bits I'm going to do. I'll run through it in my head a little bit, but I'm not like, this is the exact verbiage I'm going to use to get from this bit to this bit. And this is what I'm going to say. And then I'm going to tell my punchline about how people think I look like a lesbian. And like, I'm not going to follow it word for word. Like, I'm just going to be like, all right, well, I know ultimately this is where I want to end up. So I'll just let it fly. And like, it honestly allows me to do more with the crowd and like be a little bit more free, like interact with people. Like, I did a show at a Greek restaurant in Long Island, like at the end of July, I think, or the end of June.
That's a dream.
It's literally, it was like one of the funniest scenarios ever. It was like people eating like tapas, and then I'm like telling joke. Yeah, tapas.
They're like, can we have more olives?
Literally. They're just like fingering tahini in their mouth, and I'm just like trying to get through a joke about Instagram, you know. But like, I told this joke about like how people need to like figure out the vibe of their Instagram stories for the whole day, because like you can't just like switch it up. Like you can't be like, it's so sad that like children are dying in the Middle East, but like, how fat does my ass look in these jeans?
Yeah.
And I told that joke, and like a 75-year-old guy was sitting next to me. He started dying laughing. And it was so funny. And I dapped him up in the middle of the show. I'm like, that's what's up, brother.
Yeah.
And like, we were like vibing, but I was like, imagine if I was like the same comic I was years ago, and I did that, and then because I like sidetracked for a second, like my whole show got thrown off. But I was like it honestly is like the biggest sign of growth that I've had, is that I'm so much more loose about the material I'm going to do on stage.
That's such a good point. Like, you have to be prepared to an extent, but you also have to be prepared to engage the crowd. Because I think that it's very obvious when someone isn't comfortable, when they have such a clear, open opportunity to engage the crowd, and they just totally avoid it.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah.
It's like, you have a sitting duck.
Yeah.
Kill it.
Yeah.
When I, even like last year, even I would go into like a 5-minute like new talent night or something and be like, okay, so I'm going to transition from this joke to that joke. Exactly what you're saying with like this sentence. And then if I like miss the sentence, I would be like, oh my God, what joke am I doing? It's like, do you know the joke, or what are you doing?
Yeah. Is this just like, did you prepare this as a whole set, or is this just like individual bits you're stringing together to make a set?
It's like, I know you were saying you don't really watch, or were you saying you watch your videos after? Well, I guess you didn't the first time. Do you now?
I do, yeah.
It's like tape.
It's like I'm studying the way I'm moving up there, the way I'm delivering the jokes. I mean, it's like a whole thing. It's literally like I'm a quarterback on Monday. Like, I'm in the film room and I'm like, I got to read this defense better. Yeah. But instead I'm like, I got to keep my eyes open when I'm telling these wig jokes, you know? Right.
Like I have to stop touching my hair.
Yeah, I have to stop touching my hair, especially when I'm talking about my huge bulge.
Right.
Like there's something like, this isn't adding up.
And then you start blushing.
Yeah. And then I start blushing, and then I'm like, this might be a HIPAA violation. Thank you. We've tied it all in.
We did tie it all in.
Stay tuned for the story of Passover.
Wait, Max, we need to do You're Not That Deep, because I owe it to myself, because we definitely did get deep, and I feel like if I need some consistency in my shows, so
yes, there needs to be segments.
Yeah, and I think like in the future I'll have a specific segment in the middle or something, but when a conversation just flows, I don't want to be doing this sort of thing where now it's like, okay, now let's do our Not That Deep.
Yeah.
But also like, so be it, and it's my fucking podcast.
It's literally your podcast.
It's literally my show with my shitty equipment. Like,
shitty equipment. This is a Shure microphone.
This is crisp.
This is studio sound. coming to you live.
Do you do impressions?
I don't really do celebrity impressions. I do impressions of people I went to college with, and
Like Kevin Irvin and Lance Lassie?
Lance Lassie, yeah, Lance Lassie, yeah. If I did a Kevin Irvin impression, I would do it right now. But one of my really good friends, Lauren, I would make videos for her of like essentially like a Saturday Night Live audition tape, and I would literally write material like so and so like auditioning for Romeo and Juliet at Muhlenberg College, and it's like a lacrosse guy who's like fucking like to be or not to be, like I don't know, and then like I'll do it like the same guy, but it's like the kid who's like studying to be a cantor, and it's like the same joke, but it's like, and I would literally like sit in my apartment for like hours and film this just to send it to her because I know that she appreciates it. And so when you ask if I do impressions, I'd be like, do you know Mark Schechter from Muhlenberg College?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm sure like if I really like paid attention to doing a celebrity impression, I could do it because I know that like I have that bone in me. But like right now I'm still like on the more niche stuff, you know?
Yeah, more niche. But also like more niche is like a lacrosse guy could be translated to anyone.
Exactly.
So I want you to do You're Not That Deep of basically, I mean, what we were talking about earlier about like anti-Semitism, like, is that deep?
Yeah.
But I think like what you learned from that is one of those things, like being yourself, like, is so important.
Exactly.
And like, even though this shit happens, like, it is not that deep.
Yeah. And I think that it almost was like me getting mad about it would almost be like me pigeonholing myself into me thinking, oh, this is my whole identity. I'm just Jewish. It's a great part of my identity, but there's so many other pieces to me. And so I think that while it's extremely unfortunate that that's happened to us, I think that the beauty of us being able to rise above it is because we're like, oh, well, like, fuck that. Like, that's not just all who we are. Like, we have a confidence where we can be like, all right, well, what was funny about that? You know, like, that is a mindset that really, really should be appreciated by the two of us. Like, to have a moment of self-reflection, to be like, this is really like something that we're able to look at a scenario like that and be like, no, but there's something really funny about this, you know?
Like, we're going to get good personalities from this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how I see so many experiences. I mean, specifically like middle school, like those situations that just humble you.
Right.
Where it's like, if that didn't happen to us, we probably wouldn't have the personalities that we do. I mean, nature versus nurture, sure. But I think to an extent, our nature is what happens to us, and then how we come out of it and how we come out stronger.
Exactly.
We're lucky to be Jewish.
We so are.
Like, being Jewish is so cool. And I'll compare it really quick to like Instagram bullies or TikTok bullies, where
like the put the fries in the bag, bro, like those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I hate you, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been cyberbullied so much, just like not even that bad compared to people who actually get cyberbullied. But I posted a TikTok the other day. Someone commented, your chin, your neck, and your shoulders are disproportionate. And I was like, are they? And
I'm sorry, but that's just like, how many times did they watch that for them to then be like, this is the really specific issue I have with you?
It was like the first comment too. It's not like other people were like, go Dana, go Dana, babes, you're a princess. No,
that is fucked up.
He was like, oh, first comment, let's get it.
He didn't even comment first like he should have.
No.
What a scumbag.
So then I wasn't getting down on it, but it made me realize that who you surround yourself with is a solid reflection of who you are, right?
Yeah.
This person is taking their time out of their own special day.
Seriously.
and commenting something mean on someone else's video, like, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the people who, to connect it, are seeing someone for being different and taking their time to like make them feel less than.
Yeah.
They're not getting anywhere in life.
Exactly. And it's because of their, like, they just don't know anyone different from themselves. Like, I'm sure that's part of it for me. Like, some of these kids had never seen a Jewish person before, so they're like, oh, like, threatened. Ooh, scary. It's like, why don't you just like ask me questions about it? Like, get to know that part of me, like something you don't understand. And yeah, like going back to what you're saying, it is really fucking cool to be Jewish. And like like I feel like now having a sense of pride about it is so vital. And I think that it's certainly reignited it for me. I think I'm proudly wearing a Star of David around New York City. Like, there was a time where I was like, I feel like this would be a bad idea, but then I was like, no, like, fuck it. Like, this is who I am. You know? So
don't lose that. Also, you don't need to wear a Star of David. Neither do I. It's for people to know we're Jewish when we have curls. But
yeah,
I think this was fantastic.
This was amazing.
I thank you so much for being my first video guest.
Yeah, I just want to say that Dana asked me to be the first video guest because of my visual appeal.
I did.
And that is a compliment unlike any other.
I did.
Yeah.
I told you that.
That is
like,
something.
Because I was like, even if it doesn't work out, I still know that it'll just be like fun to look at.
Exactly.
So.
And I cannot wait to read when someone says, guy on left, chin, neck, shoulders, disproportionate. Come on, baby.
Because it's not that deep. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope that you can hear this. If not, there's always next time.
If not, we're going to release this as a silent movie, and we're just going to have like literally like the cards of the words we're saying. It's going to be like a 9.5 hour video, but it's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you for supporting me. Thank you for listening. And tell your friends. Tell people you hate. A listen's a listen.
Exactly.
An impression's an impression.
Yeah.
But have a great day. Be nice to one another. And